My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, and that is Coinbase. If this is a place for you guys to get started in your own crypto journey, make sure and check out Coinbase.com. You can do this as a business or as an individual. The one thing they are doing right now is you can get up to $200 in crypto to get started over there. It's not saying you're going to get 200, just so you know. We had some people in there. It's kind of, I guess it's a reward system, so it's randomized. But the key is that this is the place where you guys can start your trading journey. So whether you're buying Bitcoin, a slew of altcoins, all available over on Coinbase. Use our link down below. It does help the channel. All right, so I want to jump into it today. We're going to bring in Mariano coming in from Trading Parrot. And Mariano's been on our show many times. How are you today? Doing great?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to break down a bunch of altcoins for you guys today. For those of you who are not following Mariano's channel, jump over there. It is Trading Parrot over on YouTube, The Trading Parrot. So easy to find. He comes on our show. He's one of our trusted traders, and we like his analysis a lot as well. So we're going to just jump into it today. So make sure and follow Trading Parrot over there. I want to get into a couple of things here, Mariano. One is, of course, the S&P 500 has now rallied a little bit, 50 points plus, almost the exact opposite from yesterday. A lot of the AI stocks, a lot of the tech stocks, all coming back in. The good thing here is volatility. Volatility is in the market, and that's great for traders. So some very cool things. When you look at Bitcoin's response to what we saw in the DeepSeek scenario playing out yesterday, first of all, a nice recovery on Bitcoin. What is your position right now on Bitcoin for February?
So on February, in the beginning of the month, we saw a whale shadow, and I made sure that people were aware. Let me share my screen. There was this spike in here of deposits from whales older than 7 years old, and that kind of put me on my toes, prepared to pay attention for any potential move. This is similar to what we saw in the capitulation of FTX. And followed by that, the SOPR, which is people taking profits closer to this area. There was this sneaky people trying to take profits at elevated amounts. And that happened around Thursday last week. Followed by Ethereum, people did the same, but on Saturday, it seems like the ball was rolling of something was going to happen in the markets. And that definitely had an effect. And what I'm seeing now, after we had this sell-off on Monday with the recovery, is whether we can now on the weekly basis challenge these two tops on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. Because the narrative at the moment from the bears is that we could potentially complete the M pattern in here and then target the 80K. So what I want to see is that we invalidate that, hopefully, this week with a third green candle with a close as possible to the all-time high, but definitely above 104.4, because that's the highest close that we have for Bitcoin. On the shorter term, looking into the detail on the 4-hour, we can see something very similar to a V recovery, because Bitcoin has been following what the S&P is doing. We have a very humble breakout on the 4-hour that I'm currently monitoring. I'm already in a long position, and I'm targeting the CME gap at 105. I am looking for the liquidation levels at 107. This is all short-term liquidity. Longer-term liquidity, of course, we have these two big boys at the top of liquidation levels that we could be potentially hitting if we complete the bullish patterns that we can see in here. And those targets are towards 117. That is the lowest hanging fruit for the long term for Bitcoin. But if we want to get a little bit more aggressive, we can start looking even into 126K in the upcoming months. So that's very interesting for me to pay attention.
That would be a significant move. February has been a peak over the last several cycles. So the correction here, short-lived. Bulls are quickly regain control, possibly going up to 103. I'll kind of zoom in on that for you guys so you can kind of see the movement right here. But February has been historically a solid period for cryptocurrency. 8 of the last 12 have saw a lot of double-digit gains, and we've seen that both in Bitcoin and also Ethereum. So That will be interesting. Of course, other things that are going to affect the market this week, one, of course, is the Fed rate. We've got FOMC meeting coming in this week. Right now, the chance of us seeing a rate hike are pretty slim, and a chance of seeing a rate cut equally slim. So no change is probably going to be the scenario coming out of Chair Powell. And I think that may have some positive notes on the market in general, especially if we continue to see the inflation scenarios starting to fall off. Right now, I'm looking at the 6-month on Trueflation. And remember, back here in December, this was just 45 days ago, we were at a 3.11, and that was one of the high indicators there. We then peaked again right here on January 13th, which was the big concern a lot of people had. And then off we go downward. So maybe we are getting into a position where there is a little bit of softness on the inflation side of things, which could open up the crypto markets in general. I want to jump over to a couple of other tokens. We're going to take a look at XRP and also ONDO. One of the things that's happening right now, Mariano, Ripple and ONDO now are doing OUSG, which is a tokenized U.S. Treasury on the XRP ledger. Let's take a look at ONDO first and see how this plays out with the ONDO token and whether or not this might be a good position.
Let's have a look at the daily time frame on ONDO. We got a very interesting development in here. In mid-January, we already had a breakout with ONDO. It's been very bullish, the price action for this coin after this resistance in here that spans all the way from beginning of December. And then the breakout has been healthy so far. I can see that there is a channel to the upside and we haven't broken the support so far. There was a reset and the cross-view ratio in the green that is also very positive. And in terms of targets, that the first initial target that I'm looking, it's coming from the bottoms of November into the rally into December. So we can use a Fibonacci extension from there and we can get the 1618, the golden pocket is pointing toward $3.6, which is very impressive. So far, ONDO is not doing anything unhealthy, and I'm surprised how healthy is this reaction if we compare it with other coins, what they did in the similar time frame when we saw the sell-off, for example, on Monday. Even Solana had a little bit more of turmoil compared to ONDO, which is telling me that there is a big appetite to get to higher prices. And I wouldn't be surprised that we can start hitting the psychological level of $2 very soon.
Okay. I think that's a good point, because one of the things when you look at ONDO, this has been one of those high performers for almost a year now, and to see it being this healthy at this stage, especially with altcoins down quite a bit, is a good sign. Of course, anytime you can kind of partner up with what's happening over at Ripple, that's a good thing too. Let's take a look at XRP, because there's a lot of things within the market right now, Mariano. One of the things, of course, there seems to be a struggle between Bitcoin and the XRP nation. So there is a bit of a tribalism going on, and that is, of course, addressing on the charts as well. Where do you like XRP for the month of February?
Well, I have to be very transparent. I sold my XRP after holding it for years, and I was looking to finally sell it into the 1618 one day. So that day that I hit the $2.8 for me was a party, an all-time high, and selling it.
Go for it.
And I decided that I wasn't gonna go greedy and say, what if I wait for the 3.3? Because that was one of my technical targets that I believe I shared maybe with you earlier last year. Let me show the chart and let's see where we are with the XRP. So XRP had the similar breakout by the end of the year after this resistance, holding the price there. We talked about that it was extremely important for XRP to hold $2, and we did that 3 times. So very well done for XRP Army. They held this, they move on from the Gary Gensler era, and finally they are doing a breakout that is still in a healthy state in here. We have achieved the initial target of $3.3. That comes from doing a Fibonacci extension from the bottom of 2020 into the top of the previous bull market and then the bottom of this bear market. So that gives us 3.3. We already achieved it. I got out at 2.8 and I saw it rally to 3.3, and I'm fine with that. I'm taking advantage of other opportunities. And there is an additional technical target for the XRP holders at the moment, which is $4.4. And that's just taking the high of this impulsive move and just projecting it in here.
Right.
So if you want to go beyond that 1618, which is already extremely bullish target, if you want to go for beyond 2 extension, you can get into $4.4. There is a chance that they can get there. But again, there is at the moment this tension, not just between BTC and XRP. There is a reduced amount of liquidity at the moment in the markets, and every single coin has to fight for those flows of cash. So that you get these pumps and then the cash goes into the other coin, and it's a little bit more difficult to retain the gains.
Yeah, we've been watching the meme coin, Bitcoin maxi tiers, and this is the good one because it has a little bit of the culture set right now. And if you just look back here on January 25th to where we're trading now, this token is up almost 400%. So this again is the XRP community. It's an interesting thing to look at the XRP meme tokens because I think they also give a little bit of the underlying presence. You also have some other things happening this year that are interesting. You've got the Bitcoin conference and the XRP Vegas conference going back to back this year. So this is going to affect a lot of whales out there in terms of their precision on how they're playing the market. That's going to be happening in May, so I'm going to be looking for some fireworks there. Yeah, it's going head to head. PvP is on the deck for sure. Let's talk about Ethereum, Mariano, because Ethereum, of course, could be very hot right now. Average number of ETH addresses surpassed 620,000 last week, so this is the highest since March of last year. The other thing, if you look at the performance of ETH in general over the last several cycles, especially in Q1, and you can see this chart right here, good performance in 17, 21, and here we are in 2025 where ETH has been flat for quite some time. Do you like Ethereum to perform here in March and February?
I remember the last time we talked about Ethereum, we were talking about the three times in a row that we tried to get above beyond $4,000.
Yep.
Let me go into the chart. And I think at that time, I was pretty much convinced we can do it. But once I started seeing weakness in this area in here, I defined a few areas for Ethereum to take a pullback. And I said, well, we can afford to come back inside this symmetrical triangle. That's fine. But if we get in above 3.5K, that is very bullish because that's going to make it extremely easy for Ethereum to get back outside the symmetrical triangle and battle with the 4,000 and get into 5,000 very easily. But unfortunately, It went into this area between 3.5 and 3.1. And it's been there since then. And at the moment, that is getting me some hope that we can get out of that as long as we don't go below 3,000, because this is the area where I qualify it as bad. And then the final line in the sand is if we go below 2.6K. So that will be really the end over. But if I look now at what is giving me that hope, I'm going to show you just some liquidations that are quite juicy at the top that could get us beyond the 4,000. And this is expanding up until 4.2 and is slightly reducing into 4.3. And I think if we continue convincing people to short Ethereum, that's going to make this a lot more attractive for market maker eventually to exit from this bullish structure in here. I think if we manage to break out from here, we have a very good chance to get to that level. And my hope to get my ticket to 5,000 is if when we go there, if we can manage to convince more people to enter in shorts in here, that's going to make it just too easy to get to 5,000 as an initial target to exit from this bearishness that at the moment is affecting the opinions of all people talking about Ethereum in social media. I see
Well,
everybody spitting on Ethereum.
Yeah, ETH has definitely got a bad sentiment hit right now. And if you look at just the situation around ETH in general, one of the things that we've been continuing to see, I think, is the fact that with Ethereum, the problem that you're mentioning there is the shorts. And if we do get above the 4K mark again, and we start to be somewhat positive in terms of sentiment, because right now on the daily, even with us, I mean, I'll zoom in on this so you guys can see our own MSI. This is our trading sentiment right now, very negative on Ethereum, where if you look at XRP or even Bitcoin, somewhat more positive in the market right now. That's as of right now. Granted, I get that, but I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, can I take assets that have been in Ethereum for a long time and maybe shift them over to somewhere like Solana? And Solana, of course, now a lot of activity over in the DEXs, 50% of the market share driven by retail adoption is happening there. Solana, and I asked this in our own Diamond Circle, which, by the way, if you guys are not in our Diamond Circle, we always leave a link down below. Get in. But I asked everybody, is Solana maybe the Ethereum of this cycle? In other words, the leader to take us into altcoin season. Could that be the case? What is your opinion on Solana right now of where it's trading?
On Solana, we had a pretty decent move that we took advantage in the past few weeks. I remember that we mentioned that Solana was looking very weak in this area. We lost the support after the breakout. If you remember a few of the previous coins that we mentioned that had the breakout, then they hold the support. But whereas Solana lost that support in 9th of December, and even the move down of Bitcoin in mid-December, it even punished even more Solana. And there was a rotation from Solana to Ethereum. Even Sui was taking advantage of that. I remember doing the ratios and doing the analysis against other coins, and we were seeing bleeding Solana against pretty much everything. But after that, there was a formation of a pretty interesting setup in here. There is a double bottom formation, and we traded that neck there into resistance until the 65. That has already played out. And at the moment where I'm looking is if we can hold above the $200 mark so we can continue rallying against that resistance. I expect that Solana should be doing a little bit of more battling in here, and eventually, if things shift for Solana, maybe around February or later in February, it could break beyond that. I'm gonna show a little bit of targets for Solana. By the way, I flipped Solana around the $270. I was talking about that target. And I'm looking for a new entry at the lows 200. That's where my reaccumulation for Solana is. But I still think there is a big upside in here to take advantage of this because we haven't even got close to the 1618. So for example, XRP has already done that. Tron has already done that. And I think Solana is just in preparation for that. It's just teasing towards the 426. At the moment, at 296 is not that much additional to get there. And since now we got all the regulations in US supporting American tokens, so that's definitely going to make it super easy. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion.
One thing that you have to look at is the ecosystem inside Solana itself. This was a note on that same article. Jupiter, which is a DEX aggregator, they're 70% of Solana's transactions right now. If you look at Jupiter also talking about spending half its fees on buyback plans, this starts to make Jupiter a target for altcoins in this cycle. When you look at Jupiter as a potential here for the next few months, Mariano, where would you play this? Would you still play strong on Solana or maybe go into the ecosystem somewhere like Jupiter?
So on Jupiter, just looking at the technicals in here, I will personally be a little bit more careful. So there is the 1.3 resistance, and we have a huge amount of longs that are accumulated at this point in time. So I will say there is a big chance that on that $1.3, there is a decent pullback. If you're thinking about the opportunity from the fundamentals and you're looking into something a little bit longer term, like a few months or maybe half a year holding Jupiter until you exit at big profits, I still think this is a great area to enter. But from the point of view of a swing trade, the timing right there at 1.3 with all these longs that are pretty much queuing to enter, it's calling for a little bit of pullback in here, and I can already see the rolling over happening. We have had 3 weeks in the green, so we could see the next candle in the red on the weekly after we reach the $1.3. That could be an opportunity to reduce position if you are on a swing trade. If you are planning to hold, I think that this is a whole area of accumulation. We're just going sideways, and I'm assuming that traders that are taking advantage of this sideways, they constantly look at the 1.3, or as soon as they get above $1, they start the distribution. So if you believe in the coin, just hold it and go through those shakes that you're going to see around $1. If you are in a swing trade, careful with that resistance, because it's been resistance since April 2024. So hopefully this time is going to hold and continue.
Last up is getting into virtuals. And this is a token that has been on the Base ecosystem. It's getting listed now on Kraken before Coinbase. So Kraken doing a little bit of a dunking on Coinbase. But I anticipate Coinbase is going to list this token pretty soon, and we may see an explosion on what we'll see with virtuals. What does the chart look like for virtuals right now?
So I'm going to start with the weekly time frame on virtuals. We have a huge rally of momentum. We can see in here from pretty much 26 into 94. So it did a full range already of the ratio of the RSI, and it broke down. This is end of December, and since then it's been just hanging down and selling off. That's no surprise to anybody. But what I'm looking now is for where is the opportunity? What could bring reversal? I guess that's the question that if I was interested in this coin from the point of view of fundamentals, I will be looking where can I get an entry here without getting that likelihood of catching a falling knife. And on the daily time frame, we can see that this is just doing lower lows and lower highs. So I will place a line like this on the daily. At the moment, it's pinching the PNR. So from the point of view of statistics, this is saying that at around 34, there should be a slowdown in the momentum to the downside. At the same time, we got everybody short. So the whole community at the moment are shorting, and the socials are getting very quiet for this coin. It has already cooled down. It exit from the red, and there is support more or less where we are in here. So I'm very keen to see what's going to be the reaction of virtual against the $1.9, $2 roughly, which was resistance in here, support in there. And if we do a daily close below this and we pinch this, we need to be prepared for potential great entries. And what is a great entry? So in this area in here below the PNR, below what statistics are saying that should be the floor, if we re-enter the range in there, that's a great entry. If we can hold it, retest it, and start moving to higher prices. And on the other side, that's going to look, if it happened on the other side, that's going to look like we pinch this line. And then we close, potentially retest. That could bring another good entry. And that's definitely going to call the attention of the longs. And this is going to start shifting to the upside. And that's where you start chasing the coin. People are going to start chasing the coin. So try to look for an entry somewhere in this area below the PNR. So I'm talking about 27 to 33 RSI daily, somewhere in there, and hopefully that reclaiming there. So we can talk about this as a liquidity hand, trying to catch more shorts, but actually the price wants to go in the other direction. That is a great setup.
Interesting. So a lot of things, we've been tracking virtuals for quite some time now. A lot of the early trades were in around 50 to 70 cents on virtuals, which holding it around $2. There is a 2 to 3x here for most traders that I think that we've kind of been watching here recently. But I do agree with you. I think the key here is going to be this whole AI play and the AI agents, especially as it plays out with, now that Virtuals is available on both the Solana ecosystem and the Base ecosystem, there could be some good things. But this whole situation with what's going on in AI, especially around DeepSeek, could play out negatively, or it also could revert immediately if there's going to be a player against it. So we're going to be watching this one closely. Mariano, it's always good breaking these tokens down with you. Thank you again for stopping in today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
All right, you guys, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, make sure and get in right now. It's a great place to get additional content. And guess what? We have our own Telegram group over there. You do not want to miss that. That's where I am actually active in there. Make sure and jump over to that. We'll leave a link down below. And of course, follow me out there on X @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.